So now I know I started with cool colors on the bottom, the green. And the next shapes I want to do are my letters. And I want them to pop. And we know that the warm colors tend to look more vibrant, more exciting. So I want to choose colors for the face of my letters, the front. Then I need to choose a color for the sides and the bottom. So I'm looking at the side of this J, and if I were to imagine that there was an imaginary line here, because this is a curved letter, this is a little bit harder to do than, say, this E or the D. So if this is the side of the J, this is the bottom, and then the two of those meet on a curve, and we'll talk about that as I fill them in. So I still need two values here, and then here's the bottom of the E, no side, so bottom, bottom, bottom. Here's the D, bottom, side, and then inside. So that's going to be even darker, like that tunnel we did in the lowercase a on the practice sheets. That's going to be super dark. So I need to start choosing some colors. I also need to decide, am I going to make each letter the same color? And you can change it up if you want. I'm going to keep it simple. And I'm going to choose one of the warm colors. And I'm going to choose the color for me that's the brightest. So when you look at this, what do you think? Probably this orange is the brightest, and then this poppy color is the darkest. Then this pink is like a tint of the poppy. And then the peach is kind of more like a flesh color. And then we have the gold, which is more yellow. I wish I did have a bright yellow to work with, but I don't. So I'm just doing the best I can with what I have, and you should do the same. So the next step is going to be to outline my letters and put some value inside the letters. And just like the shapes, you're going to put a flat value inside the letters. So step one, outlining the letters, and then step two, adding value. So I'm going to start with that orange. Here's the orange. I'm going to check it. It's the orange. Going to give it a fresh point. Going to use my ruler or some other kind of straight edge to make my lines. I know some of you might not have a ruler at home. And with these letters, you want them to have a right angle, like a perfect rectangle. So if you have a clothing tag, or maybe your folks have a business card that you can borrow, it tends to be heavy stock, you can line up the edge and you know that this will be a perfect 90-degree right angle. So you can see how nice and clean that is. And then if I line up this edge here, I know that I'm going to have a nice shape. So yeah, that's parallel. The curve, of course, is a little bit tricky. Do the best you can, unless, of course, you can find things to trace around the house. I'm going to start off this J. You can see that my pencil line's a little crooked. I'm going to correct that. With any of these curved letters, if you could find things around the house that you can trace, you have a coffee mug, maybe. Actually, that's pretty good. So just like you added the value inside the triangles, you're going to add value inside the letters. Remember to work slowly. Remember, what was the first thing we did before we filled in the color? Outline. So again, use that ruler or whatever straight edge you have. Find the perspective, the vanishing point line. Rotate your ruler so it lines up with the edge of the letter. curve. Making that value follow the direction of the shape of the letter. And then gradually lightening up on the pressure. So here I'm following the curve of the top of the D cutout. And so if you are happy with this, just the way it is here, you can stop. And I will be posting another video on choosing the colors for these other shapes as our next step.